Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. I'm James McGowan.
I'm Jessica Faust.
I feel like I just said my name wrong. Did it come out right?
I think so.
All right. In my head, it sounded wrong.
Maybe you picked up on a Minnesota accent, and that's why it sounded funky.
Maybe.
It did sound like you stretched your vowels a little.
I did. Or, maybe the Staten Island accent just got tripped up somehow. So anyway, welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. Thanks so much for being here. We are literary agents who have taken our popular blog to YouTube to discuss all things publishing. And today we're going to talk about the word done.
Done.
So hang with
hate
us.
it. Don't do it until it's done.
Yeah, hang with us. So it's funny. Recently, an editor posted on Twitter just a little joke tweet about how she loves when an author will send their manuscript that says final, and everybody was just laughing. But there's something there, right? Because there's always this feeling of my book is done, and you hear it a lot, right? Don't query until your book is done. Don't send it out to editors until you and your agent feel your book is done.
Yeah, it's
all of that.
It's like a weird double-edged sword, right? Like we're all laughing because the silly author thought their book was done. Ha ha! I'm an editor. It's not done. But then we also all say never send it until it's done. So what the hell do you people mean by done? What do you want?
So we've broken it down. There are 3 levels of done, maybe even more, but 3 basic levels of done.
This is all we can handle for today.
Look, this is our 4th video today, folks. We're doing our best. So the first level of done is, what does done mean when you're ready to query? So for us, you don't query a book until you would consider it done.
Yeah.
But done as it relates to what you have done with the book.
Correct.
Drinking game, take a shot every time you hear the word done. But,
and then do not call your editor after.
Right. So you have taken the book as far as you can take it in this first stage, meaning you have drafted the book. You have hopefully taken a beat off the book, right? Send it to your critique partners and let them take a look. You have listened to and worked through their feedback and incorporated it into the book, revised as many times as you felt it was necessary. Here's a kicker. Once you feel you're done revising, you put it down for a good week or 2. You take as much time away from that book as you can physically stand and just get some distance from it. And then you take another dive, have another read, put on some finishing touches. That's what we would consider done.
Yeah. And what I would say about the word done is that I think done is a very conscious decision. I think that I feel that maybe not every author, but most authors could tweak their book forever. They send it, the final copy, they're still coming up with things they could tweak, right?
Of course.
You have to decide, I have done the best I can do. I'm ready. I thank you. I'm ready to move on. And I am going to put this away. It's a conscious decision that it's time for you to move on.
Yeah. Just a side note, Madison, and you could leave this in, but if you could figure out how to do a little done counter, maybe even a competition of how many times each of us has done.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Viewers, I think you'll appreciate that. I'm pretty sure Madison's brilliant. It's probably happening.
I hope so. Anyway, so that's the first level of done. It's not a competition, Jessica. It was the natural flow of the sentence. But there's, what's the next level? And now, hopefully you've queried, you've found an agent. Congratulations. You are working with that agent, which on basically the same process as above. So your agent is giving you a set of feedback. You're incorporating that feedback. You're sharing it with your critique partners, doing the revisions that you feel are necessary, taking a beat from it, taking it back, sharing it with your agent.
Same thing.
It's that process for as many times as necessary until you and your agent both make that conscious decision that we've taken this book as far as we can go, done, we're ready to submit it to an editor.
And I want to sort of go back to the tweet about the author who considered their book final, and also why it's so important that what you're sending us is done before we even dig into it. We know that each step of the way there's going to be revisions and more work. You know that, but we want to be as purposeful as we can when doing this, which means that if you send us what you consider a draft, that you know the book needs work and you're asking us to do that work for or with you, it makes it so much harder for me as an agent to really be able to make your book the best it can be, because I'm not seeing it from what you thought it was the best it can be. And so that means I quickly lose perspective. Every time I have to read your book, I've lost a little bit of perspective. I don't know if my memory is of the third draft or this draft. So done is really important before I see it at all. You need to feel like, I hope this can go straight to the bookshelves and to readers.
There's that Price is Right game with like the little guy going up the mountain, right?
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, you want to take your little guy as far up the mountain as possible so that we can just help you get it to the top. And I think, you know, another agent, Jamisco Chambers Black at Andrea Brown, she said on a conference that we were on together, I can only really look at a book 3 times before I lose my editorial edge. And I say that all the time now because I love the term editorial edge. There will come a time after many reads where we're like, I don't even know anymore.
I don't know.
And so will you. So
I just had that experience where I was reading a partial from a client and I was giving feedback and I didn't know if the feedback was working anymore for this current version or the book, or if I was really making it better. Not just was my feedback making the book better or worse, but was my feedback even useful? I just didn't know anymore. And I would even argue that 3 times for me might be too many. I don't want to see it more than twice.
But also, like you said, I forget what's in the book, right? And like when I get to the end of the book, I've got 3 different versions in my brain that I could have a plot point that was in part 2 that, I mean, in draft 2 that I somehow mistook for draft 3 and my notes. Things get confusing.
Yeah. And the whole point is that your agent is supposed to, like you said, just that elevate, that polish, that perfection. And if you're not giving us the opportunity to do that, then who's doing it?
Yeah. Think about how many times you might reread your favorite book. By now, you know it like the back of your hand.
I do.
Right? However, imagine every time you pick that book up, it was marginally different.
Oof.
You will just completely lose it, right? Like it's not what you expect. You get frustrated by it. That's what happens.
Yeah, it really does. And then it doesn't help you. And in fact, I found in those situations, sometimes I fear I'm hurting the book. The feedback I'm giving it's not just that it's not as effective as it could be, it's that I'm actually taking the book backward because I've lost so much perspective. Right. And sometimes then I go into do this and the author will be like, well, I did that already in another version. I'm like, this is why we shouldn't have had so many versions.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why it's always great, especially with longer works, to really take the time you need to make sure you're getting the book where you want it to be, that it's addressing the notes you received and all of that.
Yeah, I will even argue with my clients, well, not argue with them, but say to them, like, I don't want this back in 2 weeks. I don't want this back in 3 weeks. I don't even want it back in a month. It should take you this long to do these revisions. And if it's not, then you need to be the one to sit on it. I don't want you shoving it off to my inbox because you don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right, right. This is your book. You have to take that ownership over it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the next leg of the race is, you know, you're now working with the publisher, your book sold, congratulations, and you have an editor. A publisher and an editor will almost always have notes for you.
Everybody will have notes. Everybody will have notes.
Always. So you're going to do that process again, and please spare me from having to repeat the whole thing. But
please spare us.
Yeah, taking the feedback and incorporating it and whatever. So you're going to do that again. And that man on the mountain is really close to the peak, right? So it's just about fine tuning things in the book. If there were some overarching notes, really, those are notes that are going to get that book to its most final form.
Yeah.
So some of them could be, you know, a bit more overarching, but they're going to take the book as close as possible to what it will be when it publishes.
Right.
So that's crucial to keep in mind, right? Like you're having discussions that will affect the finality of the book. And then once you finish content-wise, you're also having copy edits. And this is where I would argue the book is just about
I think you're done. I think by the time you get to copy edits, you are mostly, now it's just tweaks. You're done. You're done.
Right. And I've got a fun one for you. Unless you're a picture book author or doing a book that's illustrated, because when the art comes, you are sometimes changing text. So keep that in mind too. But at this stage, it's very minimal.
Yeah.
You should not have it in mind that I have to add this plot point. No.
No.
You will
no.
get charged for that, frankly.
Yeah. In fact, I would say that from the time you first query that book, the only reason you should add a plot point is because your editor or agent is something's not working and the discussion leads to an added plot point. You should no longer be added plot points because then you weren't done.
Right. Right.
Ah, I threw it in. I got another one in.
You got another one. Congrats. Well, I think we are done with this video.
I think we are done.
We hope it was helpful to sort of, manage your expectations of what you can be expected of and what the process your book is going to go through. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we hope to see you back here next week.
Bye, we're done.
Yeah, God, that's not fair. Now we're done. All right.